I am Brianna Lentz. I am the creator of Educating Wildflowers and the Educating Wildflowers Co-op in southeastern Oklahoma. I have a YouTube channel, Brianna Lentz, and I do a lot of crafting and art things, and I've done a lot of things with my kids there as part of continued schooling, I guess. But I am creating this channel, Educating Wildflowers, for everything homeschool related, everything continued learning related, just a place to inspire for creativity, for knowledge. Is a place to just share all these things. This channel for Educating Wildflowers is intended to not just be for the mom. However, homeschooling moms, hi, I hope that you find a lot of value here. But it's also for the kids, for the family. It's for, hopefully for maybe some of my videos you'll be able to use at your local co-op. Maybe some of the videos that I upload to this channel will be able to be used in your homeschool curriculum as just an additive. I just want to share our process from beginning to end. And I thought about putting all of these things on Brianna Lentz. All of these things will be found at briannalentz.com/educatingwildflowers. However, for YouTube, I wanted it to all be here, and I want to be able to also strip the audio from these sorts of videos to be able to upload them as a podcast for a place for other mothers or families to listen to, because there are dads out there who also need information. I don't think that everybody who homeschools are just homeschool moms, and I think that there's a real value for these things to be put on in the background for the whole family to listen to. So today it is June 5th. It is a Sunday. I am drinking some coffee, my second cup of coffee. My kids are in the other room. So who am I, right? Who is this person you are talking to? Well, I am a new homeschooler. I have always done continued learning. My children are 5 and 9. My oldest daughter, Fiona, she is going into the 4th grade. She has done regular education. She did kindergarten in Colorado, and she has done 1st through 3rd in a rural school out here in southeastern Oklahoma. My daughter, Jules, her name is Helena Julianne, but we give her the nickname Jules. It's just something that fit from the beginning. And she did pre-K at the same school. Going in for pre-K, let me back up here. Fiona, we did, I need to retract some of what I've said. I have done homeschool before. We did homeschool preschool with Fiona. We did a ton of work with her at home. She did not go to preschool. She did not go to daycare. She did not do any of those things. She was ready for kindergarten and actually was so advanced for kindergarten that because the school system doesn't want to lose money, she got put into kindergarten, even though she probably would have placed into 1st grade. And she was in one class out of about 5 kindergarten classes in Colorado that were half day, and they were kind of shoved outside, and she had a placement test, everything. The school would not disclose how well she did, other than she did exceptionally well. And basically, she didn't need to be in school all day, so they gave her the half-day class, which I'm thankful for, because she didn't need to be there all day as well, in my opinion. But they still needed the funding, so they kept her in kindergarten, which developmentally, everything great. She was an older 5-year-old going into kindergarten. However, I have many thoughts about schools keeping kids for grades repeatedly, like having to just keep them back because they missed so many days of school, just because they missed one too many days. It doesn't matter if they're ready for the next grade. They will keep them in that same grade if they miss too many days. Anyways, I digress. We'll hit that on another episode, I'm sure. And I'm sorry about the lighting. It is so dreary outside. But if I were to wait for perfect weather, this just won't happen. Been there, done that, and things don't happen if you wait for everything to be perfect. Anyway, so let me go back to Jules. So she did pre-K, and I'm very happy she did pre-K in the class that she did, because the teacher was like the top tier Pinterest type teacher. I don't think she lacked anything from being schooled in pre-K from somebody else other than me, because I do feel like she got a lot of value out of the education in this one particular class. However, socially, I think it was a wrecking ball. There are so many children who have no concept of how to handle their emotions or being told no or anything like that. And it doesn't even just mean pre-K, that she was so emotionally wiped that I think she almost verged on 4-year-old depression when she would get out of school, because she was so drained by all of these other kids' personalities. And I know that for a fact because she was 4 going into pre-K. There was no way that was going to happen if I didn't work at the school. So I worked as a para-aide for the school year for her in pre-K and Fiona in 3rd grade. So I got to know all the teachers. As a para-aide, I was a para-aide to a highly autistic boy in 4th grade, and I was with him for 2 hours of the day. I was with him from 9:30 to 10:30 and from 12 to 1 every day. However, when I got hired, I was hired as a permanent substitute at this K through 12 school. So I have had the ability to be a substitute in every grade, K through 12. How incredible is that? So I have been able to step in at any given time in any classroom, because sometimes every day I would walk in, the only thing that I would know was that I would be with this boy as his para-aide and help assist him through his day, because he needed just help calming down his emotions and being able to be in a classroom. And I would be put into a class for the whole day, or I could be put into multiple classes throughout the day. But my job was to be a permanent sub. And so I've had firsthand experience from mostly kindergarten, that's typically what I subbed in, to all the way through 12th grade. And what a wealth of knowledge that was. So much so that when I was teetering on homeschool for a couple of years for multiple reasons, I cannot believe how much I learned about the education system and how invaluable the last year working at the school was. I chose to work at the school because I wanted to be with my kids. I wanted to, especially with COVID, you couldn't be in the school grounds. It was an indoor classroom. You couldn't be allowed in because of COVID regulations. And once you have those COVID regulations, those aren't going to go away. And so I chose to work there to be with my kids. I was already teetering on homeschool. I've always done continued education with them. I have struggled from the beginning with Fiona going to school that there was no challenge for her. She was already the top of the class. And so as long as she met those marks, oh, I've got a storm coming in. As long as she met those marks, great. Great for the class, great for the teacher. She's done enough. And I became a pain in the butt because I was constantly asking, can you challenge her? Can she do better? Can we move on to the next thing? Is there any bonus questions? Can we move on to this subject? Like, is there any advancement? Well, no, that's more work for the teacher. And this isn't to dog on the teachers, because the teachers have a lot on their plate. They have so much on their plate because kids in general now are so less mature than what they should be, what they used to be. And the majority of kids are just at the bar that when I was in school, I graduated 2006 from high school, right? Like, just to give you an idea of my age, I'm 33. So I was born 88. Okay. I was always the top of my class, always above and beyond. I remember always having chances to better myself, to answer those bonus questions, to challenge myself academically, scholastically. Like, it was just always, I loved that challenge. And there was always a challenge to have. There has been none for my child. So there has become this struggle, especially 1st and 2nd grade, because there was no challenge. Everything came easy to her at school. So when she came home, when I challenged her, well, Mom, why should I do that? That's not what's being taught to me at school. So now there became this battle against, like, well, my teachers don't make me do that and this kind of thing. And so, like, as a mother, constantly wanting my children saying, hey, you did great, awesome, let's go to the next challenge, which she grew up having, and then being in first, second, and third, and then being like, but I don't have to. Why are you the only one telling me I have to when nobody else does? And I'm already doing great, and I'm getting accolades for being the best. And you're telling me at home it's not good enough? Well, it is good, but you can do even better. Let's see how far we can take this. But it became this struggle and this ideal of like, first and second grade was this idea of like, but I am already going above and beyond. Like, look at how good I'm doing. Yes, you are doing great, but you can do better. Let's add to it. And she would also, like, it was like with reading and math, and she was doing really good. But then, like, she was finding frustration and boredom. All that to say, she was finding frustration and boredom because they weren't giving her all these other things that she wanted, like science and further math. And I would do as much as I could on the weekends, but it, you know, there's only so much until they're just burnt out, because they're burnt out socially. Both of my kids, when they would come home from school, were just burnt out. And when they would have about 4 days off from school, they would start to pep up again and be alive again. And it was just such a drastic change. And even myself, like now that I've been off from working at school for a few weeks, it is just wonderful. I empathize with the teachers out there that are just burnt out and don't want to do it anymore, because there is just so much emotionally that they have to deal with every day. My other thing with wanting, well, many other things, but I'm just going to touch a couple of them because I didn't write any notes down. I just kind of wanted to talk, is freedom. The freedom to choose when your kids go to school, or if you just want to pick them up at 1 o'clock, or, you know, not everybody has your standard work schedule. My husband has never had a standard work schedule. And you would get penalized as the parent for taking them out of school. Doesn't matter how well you were how well your kids were doing or how involved you tried to be, because at the end of the day, they didn't want you to be involved because you're the parent, and when your kids are in their classrooms, they're their kids as far as they're concerned. And I know firsthand from discussions and conversations that is not just a one-sided argument where it's like one or two teachers. No, the parents the parents are for home, the teachers are for school, and the parents should not interfere. Now, that doesn't go for everybody. There are some teachers out there that still want their parents to be involved, but to a certain degree, because they don't want the parents to know what's going on in the classroom, because it's such a poop show. That's all I can say. So, my struggle was trying to be involved, especially in first grade and second grade, and I got the workaround. I wasn't privy to know everything that was going on with my child. No, that's my child. I should know everything. I know of lots of kids that they missed too many days. And I talked about this earlier. They missed too many days, and they will not be tested to see if they can advance to the next grade. The school did not get enough funding for them to be in on enough days, so they will hold them back for another year. There is no testing to be had if they are ready. How does that make any sense? That shows to me that the school is not for the educational purposes, it's for the funding. Oh, there's rain. School isn't fun anymore. My kids would get like my older daughter would get teased for being the smartest one, for wanting to learn, for wanting to read. I want to introduce the beauty of learning. You know, not introduce, but because I already have introduced. I've done a lot of work with my kids outside of school. I want them to be able to learn all the time and whatever they want. You know, they've got their assignments that they're going to do, and we're going to be doing the Good and the Beautiful curriculum, and I'm super excited about it. And then everything else, they can learn whatever they want. Mom, I'm really interested in these bugs. Okay, let's do a report on it. Let's really dig in here. If they're interested, they're going to really learn, and they're going to retain this information for the future. Giving them any opportunity they want. The beauty of being able to homeschool is my daughter is super into marine biology. I have a kindergartner. Okay, let's do marine biology. So we got passes. We have passes to both aquariums in the state of Oklahoma. I'm going to develop worksheets to go along with those. So that way she's really absorbing in and attention to detail and memorization, all of these things that she's not going to get at school. No way. If kids in her class aren't capable of doing certain things or not emotionally capable of doing different activities, those activities don't happen. My kids love activities. I love activities. I think crafts and activities are so important for motor skill development, attention to detail, figure it out, engineering, all of these things that make your brain have to stop and think and figure it out for yourself. That isn't happening in the classrooms. There was such a push for STEM learning 10 years ago. Where is that now? I don't see that very much, not in my area. So that's something else that I really want to hit home with my girls is STEM. You know, like my 4th grader really has an ability for engineering and anything STEM. And so does my other daughter, Jules. I mean, she's in kindergarten and she's learning to read quickly. She's highly intelligent, just like her older sister. And with homeschooling, we get to do all of these things and really make them their own creative mind. Not a plank of wood that goes in a school and comes out a sharpened pencil to somebody else's, to the government's wanting. To be a good employee. To be a good worker. No, to be a good human being. That is my goal as her mother. My husband, Jason, is a very hands-on father. And he takes the time to explain things so well. And he is so intelligent. And he is the yin to my yang, if there ever was one. And what the two of us can teach our kids is way more than what they would be able to experience in a classroom. And not that a homeschooling parent needs this, but I know, and I have the confidence deep down from being able to walk into any classroom, K through 12, and be able to teach that lesson plan. I have no doubts in my mind that I am capable of teaching them what they need to know. I'm so excited for this school year. I think that it is so wonderful for Americans to be going back to the idea of putting their children first. I think that it is so wonderful that Americans are going back to these ideas of simple living, to reevaluating what is important. I think it is so important that the nuclear family is not destroyed because it is on fire. They are trying to burn us down. And it will take us one by one to multiply and keep our children sacred. We have the sovereignty over our children, not the state. You can do whatever you want to do. There are so many ways to make money on the internet or even in your local community, to work from home, to sacrifice. But is it a sacrifice to figure out how to make money from home if you get to be with your kids all day? I don't think so. Not to me. I have been a stay-at-home mom for the past 10 years. I worked here and there a little bit. I worked for the year at the school. And that was due mostly to the sacrifice of my husband working his butt off, because our main priority was for me to be home with the kids. And it shows. It shows in my children, in our children, how well off they are compared to so many others. Because they've been nurtured, they've been loved, they've been put first. They are the future generation. If we look around at what the current generation is, and you don't think something needs to change, then this ain't the video for you. I can just tell you that. So I'm just speaking really candidly. That's what this is for. These videos are for, not all of my videos are going to be this opinionated though. Who knows? I am fairly opinionated. But I have shied away from sharing my opinions for a long time. And that doesn't help anybody. If you are thinking about homeschooling, you can do it. You can do it on a budget. I have a lot of ways that I'm going to share how you don't have to be the perfect Pinterest homeschooler. This is the place for you. You can do this. By any means necessary, you can do this. Well, I've got my first co-op meeting in July, and I'm excited to see what other people in the community think their needs are. I am looking forward to compiling the content that I've already made in the years past and putting that on my homeschooling tab for briannalentz.com. I hope you can hear me over the rain, but it is getting much louder, so I guess I should pin this here. But I would love to know your thoughts down below, what you think about the homeschooling revolution. Are you thinking about it? Are you doing it? What you think about just having a cup of coffee and just sitting and chatting and listening to my thoughts. I'll get more streamlined as time goes on if this seemed a little scattered. I'm a little passionate right now. And I don't think that passion is going to go anywhere. But my thoughts will come more cohesively as time goes on and I get more comfortable with this. Anyway, I am Brianna Lentz. briannalentz.com, educating wildflowers. If you live in the southeastern Oklahoma area and you would like to connect, please leave me a comment down below. I would love to get to know you. I'd love to get to know any of you across America. We can do it. See you guys in the next video. Bye.